Okay, here we are live in Seminole County, and our LZ is the Winter Springs Oviedo line. And today's show, we're going to talk about how our service members' brains are being attacked by solvents, depleted uranium, and lead, and how our service members' hearts are being attacked by heavy metals and radiation. And then we're going to talk about our service members' reproductive systems are being attacked with birth defects from solvents, metals, radiation, and pesticides. And then we're going to talk about our service members' hormones being attacked by perchlorate and fuels. And we're going to talk about our service members' muscles and nerves being attacked by pesticides, metals, and solvents. Many cancers are caused by solvents, metals, and pesticides and radiation. And today's host, I have author Robert O'Dowd, is a retired Defense Department financial manager and a Marine Corps veteran who served 52 months on active duty with the 1st, 3rd, and 4th Marine Aircraft Wings in the 1960s. He enlisted in the Marines at age 19 at Marine Corps Air Station El Toro, California. He was assigned to Marine Wing Service Group 37, Spook Corner, the area where CIA proprietary C-130s offloaded supposedly. Well, I'm not going to go into that, but that's who I have on the show today is Robert O'Dowd. Good morning, Robert. And with no further ado, Robert O'Dowd.
Good morning, Dave. How are you?
Outstanding.
Well, that's good, because New Jersey's not that hot, I can tell you that right now. Anyway, how did I get started in this thing, right?
Right, how'd you do?
Good question. This is really interesting. I'm touring, I'm cruising, I'm surfing the net, okay? I had retired from the Department of Defense, and I'm surfing the net looking for what happened to my old duty station, El Toro, California, right? Orange County. And I run across a national law firm advertising for clients at El Toro. Whoa, what's going on here, right? So I make a telephone call. Hey, I get the guy, what's going on with El Toro? And the answer was, are you a property owner? And I said, yeah, in New Jersey. They hung up.
Figures, right? Oh, yeah, I can see that. So that's what got you intrigued, huh? When you saw that attorneys involved, huh?
Well, I knew there was something going. They're looking for clients. There's something happening. There's a national law firm looking for folks who were damaged by environmental contamination at the base. And what happened was I had to track it down to the Navy, NAVFAC Southwest, Naval Facility Engineering Command Southwest. They're in San Diego, California. Called them and basically got the story that a trichloroethylene TCE plume ran from El Toro in the aquifer out into Orange County, and that resulted in the base being an EPA Superfund site. I went, whoa, what's going on? Give me more details. And basically, I had to go back and forth to EPA and other people to get some information. But what happened is there's a TCE is an industrial solvent, a degreaser that's been used for probably, maybe back in the 1920s. It's heavily used by the military for aircraft, obviously. You can't have aircraft with grease on the parts when you're cleaning them. You have to clean them. And also vehicles, tanks, that sort of stuff. Used throughout the military. And you can guarantee that every military airfield, Air Force, Marine Corps, Navy, is contaminated with trichloroethylene. Now, the problem with that is TCE is a carcinogen. If you're exposed to it, and all routes of exposure, and there's 3, inhalation, ingestion, and dermal contact. And if you're working with it, there's a good chance you could wind up getting really sick. In my case, I wound up with 3 cancers. Not good. So I'm trying to find out, were my cancers at all related to the military? How the hell do I know? There's nothing in my military service record, So I started looking and checking back and forth, and here we go. The bottom line is that you don't have to get sick in the military to file a VA disability claim. but you're going to have a really rough time of it. You need to get, as I money for people who do that for a living, and that can cost you a couple $1,000s.
Yeah,
the good news.
Yeah, Bob, let me just real quick. It's because they can sick the IRS on you? Is that some type of maneuver they do if you start fighting the government?
No, I think that, I don't know, probably why you're saying why do doctors don't want to get involved. I think that probably goes into the background because what's going to affect their pocketbook, They don't want to get involved with the government because you're right, maybe the thought process might be the IRS might command them. I think it's a bizarre kind of thing, or basically, quite simply, what's in it for me? Why should I get involved with this guy? I don't know anything about the military, and I have no idea whether his cancer is directly related to trichlorid. I'm not an epidemiologist. I'm a medical doctor. These guys don't know a damn thing about toxicology, And so you're looking for people who do know something about that and know something about the military and know what the requirements are. And so you go out there. I'm searching, looking around. The first guy cost me $3,000, man. $3,000. I'm not going to mention his name. My wife said, "You are absolutely nuts. What are you doing?" I said, "Well, it's like playing blackjack. You go down to Atlantic City, put it on a, you're throwing on the table trying to get something. So I can't get a claim unless I get a doctor saying that my cancers are related to military service." Yeah,
you're only like a very small fraction that would even do that. So, but it got you somewhere. So that's one of the reasons why Remember the Fallen and your book does shows like this, is that we hope to alert others that were stationed there and have not connected the dots of serious medical conditions to military servicemen, like Blue Water Navy and the Agent Orange survivors of Guam, and also the founder, Sherry Tiger Evans. Their page is U.S. Wives and Widow Warriors of Agent Orange. They hope to solicit congressional support to require the Department of the VA to provide medical care monitoring and health care for those injured, and to establish the scientific expertise within the VA to fairly evaluate veteran disability and compensation for medical conditions linked to environmental exposures at all military installations on the National Priority List, the NPL. Now, you said super-funded sites. There's 130, you said?
Well, there's more than that. There's 130 military bases that are super-funded sites. There's probably over 1,200, maybe even 2,000 sites that are not military. Now, the problem with the military sites is this. No veterans, except for those at one base, Camp Lejeune, have ever been notified that they may have been exposed to contaminants that were injurious to their health. None. The government knows this stuff, but they're not going to go through the process of notifying. We don't know what these guys are at. Yeah, but you could do radio announcements, you could do TV spots. It isn't a big deal. You got veteran service organizations, the VFW, the American Legion, the DAV, et cetera, so forth and so on. They can notify their memberships. Hey, if you're at these bases, guys, check it out. Because if you're sick now, it could be related to military service. None. No one's done nothing.
Exactly. I'm gonna because I'm a member of 3 organizations. Okay, the VFW, American Legion, and the DAV. I've never seen a VSO stand up, and they say it's the simplest and least costly action for the VA and the VSO, which stands for Veteran Service Officer, is to establish internet links to the EPA Superfund database for the 130 military Superfund installations, right? So the EPA Superfund database lists the contaminant of concern, which is called COC, for each site. Well, that COC are the chemical substances found at that site that pose an unacceptable risk to human health or the environment. So EPA links the health effects of the COC database maintained by the Agency for Toxic Substance Disease Registry, which is ATSDR, with a few clicks of the internet. This is what they say, Bob. With just a few clicks of the internet. Yeah. Both the veteran and his or her medical care providers can have access to COC and their health effects. It's no exaggeration that this information may literally save lives. Okay, Bob, they make it sound so easy, don't they? Take over.
Well, it is easy, but it's easy once you get into the process, but the process itself is a long one. I mean, you've got to be able to get, as I said, the most important thing is an MI6 number. You have to have a chronic illness. It can't be, I was sick 2 years ago and I'm fine now. That's not going to buy you anything. You have to be chronically ill. It's got to be a current chronic illness. Of course, if you've got cancer, you're going to, you could be checking out. I mean, that's a deadly illness. But there are many other illnesses too that are also linked to, and you mentioned some of them in your introduction to military service. I mean, it's hazardous. So you got the burn pits, for example, in Afghanistan and Iraq, and people are exposed to those things, inhaling that stuff. Dioxin, which is the toxic chemical element in Agent Orange, is one of the byproducts of the burn pits. So you can get cancer from that, and all kinds of other illnesses.
Yeah. Yep, Bob. So you mentioned earlier about Camp Lejeune. So Camp Lejeune is the tip of the spear when it comes to veterans getting their presumptive claim. So what about the other 129 Superfund sites? As we stated earlier, with a few clicks of the internet, both the veteran and his or her medical care provider can have access to COC and their health effects. Once again, if it is that easy, why isn't the VA and the VSO stepping up their game and more claims being awarded? So, Bob, where is the disconnect? Where is the disconnect here?
Well, the disconnect would be there's no congressional mandate to do that. You know, the VA is not going to do it because obviously it's going to deplete their resources. They're not going to go out and encourage people to file claims. You know, it's going because that reduces their pot of money. So, but the thing is, you've got the advocates for the veterans are the veteran service organizations. We pay membership dues to these organizations, right?
Right.
They're supposed to represent us. Where are you guys? Come on. I mean, there's no reason why you can't put up on your websites, which are some of them are very, very nice. You know, they have all kinds of bells and whistles in it. There's no reason why they can't put up a link to the EPA, Superfund sites. And those chemicals that the contaminants of concern and the health connect, because just about every one of the chemicals listed by EPA is linked to ATSCR's health effects. Just one click, you're right there, as you said. One click, you're right there, and you can see you can really see what's going on. Now, obviously, if you've got a common cold, there's no sense in doing this. We're talking about serious stuff, diabetes, the cancers, and other really. I think some other things I've got so many things going. Oh, it's incredible, man.
Yeah. So, Bob. So what I'm seeing also is this glass ceiling of keeping the veteran under 70% disability, so they can never achieve the IU, which is unemployability individual. Can you shed some light on that? Throw up a flare on this topic about the IU.
Individual unemployability. If you get less than 100%, when most of us do, it's pretty tough to get 100% on the first go. If you have 60% for one, you're eligible for IU. Basically, you jump from 60 to 100%. The IU, individual unemployability, you have to provide evidence that you are unemployable, and you can't lie about it because that's fraud. You go to jail for that kind of stuff. There's another. It gets a little more. So you have to have at least one worth 60, and if you have, I think two. I'm not exactly sure with the whole thing because I'm 90% full and permanent. There's got to be. I believe there's one worth at least 40, and two or more worth 70. But it's real simple. If you're not really clear on the thing, you simply dial on the internet unemployability VA, and it just tells you where you're at in terms of what the.
Yeah, matter of fact, Bob, I just pulled it up. I'm going to just touch base with it real quick. So, just to tell the audience, individual unemployability is a part of a VA's disability compensation program that allows VA to pay certain veterans disability compensation at the 100% rate, even though VA has not rated their service-connected disabilities at the total level. Like you said earlier, there's requirements. You must be a veteran. You must have at least one service-connected disability rated at least 60% or 2 or more service-connected disabilities, at least one disability rateable at 40% or more with a combined rating of 70% or more, and you must be unable to maintain substantial gainful employment as a result of service-connected disabilities. Marginal employment such as odd jobs is not considered substantial gainful employment for VA purposes. Yeah, so I'm glad we got to get that out to the audience, because that's such important information for them to go ahead and get a hold of their VSO, Veteran Service Officer, at these large veteran organization of American Legion, the DAV, VFW, AMVETS, So Bob, you know more about seriousness about the Camp Lejeune being labeled as a death camp for those who drank, showered, and cooked with contaminated water on base from 1957 to 1970. That's a generation. Bob, the next statement might ring a bell. It says here, MCAS El Toro Marines who work directly with toxic chemicals without protective clothing and face masks, or were exposed to dioxin and pesticides, chemicals from the burnings of El Toro landfills. Now, like you said, these burn pits are all on the former base who were exposed to contaminated water from the base wells prior to 1986 were at risk for exposure to toxic chemicals. So, Bob, were you exposed to this type of toxicity?
Yes. I happened to be in a hangar. Hangar 296 was one of the there are two big hangars on the base. Each hangar over 200,000 square feet. Hangar 296 was one of the primary sources of trichloride ethylene, TCE, that generated a toxic plume of TCE going off the base and contaminating Orange County's aquifer, their primary source of drinking water. I was in the hangar, and I'm looking at the engineering drawings for the hangar one day, and these guys are really in trouble because it's a radiation-contaminated workspace. Radium-226, that is dangerous stuff. Radium was discovered by Madame Curie back in 1898. Her papers today are still so radioactive you can't touch them. Okay, but the military used radium back in the day. Probably stopped using it in 1960 or so to paint the instruments on aircraft. You glow in the dark kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And,
wow. No kidding.
Yeah, get this. Well, they pulled the stuff out. They thought they pulled it out. They didn't pull it out. That hangar was still closed today in 2018 while the Navy cleans it up. So the guys that were in my particular workspace, not the entire hangar, got 200,000 square feet. I'm on the north end in the office space. But that space had been used for radium, a 226 pay room. So heck, I'm known to myself. I'm exposed to radium too. My God, what the hell's going on here, right?
Right, and you're only 19 years old, right? I mean, so you were uninformed. You're following the orders, right? So you had no clue at the time that the prolonged exposure to these toxic chemicals could lead to premature death, right?
I got sick when I found out that I was sick probably when I was about 34 years old. I went to a doctor, he did a DRE, I did an rectal exam. Hey, you got a prostate the size of a guy who was 70 years old. I'm 34. I couldn't even spell prostate. I said, what the hell's a prostate? Well, you're going to find out real soon. The man should have referred me to a urologist at the time. And by the time I'm 43, I'm in trouble. I'm in real trouble. And a series of operations that do transurethral resection of the prostate where they just take it out and just keep doing it. It kept going on and on and on. And finally one doctor says, hey, Mr. Adele, why are you having your continual prostate growth? What's going on with you, man? Let's have a blood test. He does a blood test, right? The results come back hyperprolactemia. That's in the pituitary gland, which generates a hormone called prolactin, okay? Well, the problem is that TCE is an endocrine disruptor. It disrupts hormones, okay? So my prolactin count came back at twice the count of a normal male. And
wow.
Guess what? If you have that and you're a male, you're going to have prostate growth. Okay.
Yeah. Unavoidable, right? So, yeah, so the chemicals at Camp Lejeune and the other 128 sites, could there be close to 10 million service members exposed to toxic chemicals before 1986 if you combine all these bases? Close to 10 million service members. Is that a good guess?
That's it. That's not my guess. I don't think that would be what we call WAG. I'm not sure what the numbers are. God only knows. There's 22 million active. There's 22 million veterans that are still alive in the country. Most of them probably post World War II. World War II guys are probably all dead for the most part. So you've got, a big contingent from Vietnam who served during the Vietnam era, also served in Vietnam. Vietnam veterans are pretty well taken care of because of the Agent Orange issue. They've got presumptive disability. The only other place in the United States that I know that has presumptive disability is Camp Lejeune. That means that veterans who have certain illnesses, I think there's 8 of them, that are presumptive to exposure to these chemicals on the base. If they just have, they don't have to go through the process that the rest of us have to go through. If you have, let's take an example. So, how about bladder cancer? I think that's one of the things I've had also. Bladder cancer is presumptive to exposure to TC. Okay, so if you're at Camp Lejeune and you have bladder cancer, you go to the VA and you're compensated for it. You receive health. Some other place like that, and you have bladder cancer. Tough. You're out the door, dude. You're going to have to go get a doctor and go through the whole process of a medical next opinion and file a VA claim.
Well, so to this day, the Marine Corps refuses to accept responsibility for any injuries and deaths from Camp Lejeune well water. So, Bob, as a Marine...
No, that's not true. That's not true. They do accept responsibility for Camp Lejeune, because the Marine Corps says, okay, finally after many years, said, yeah, that's right, the wells are contaminated. They were contaminated from 1953 to 1987. And thanks a lot, thanks for the most part to people like retired Master Sergeant Jerry Enspinger, who pushed for it. It was a Marine at Camp Lejeune, whose daughter died from leukemia from exposure to the contaminated wells. He pushed for it, and thanks to the North Carolina congressional delegation. They supported him a number of hearings, and after a number of years, it took a long time to go through, and many people died in the interim process. God only knows how many died. The estimate is 1 million people were exposed to this stuff at Camp Lejeune. 1 million. Now, how many got sick? How many died? Only God knows.
Right. So we can thank the 112th Congress introduced legislation to provide for medical care through the VA for Camp Lejeune veterans and their dependent injured from the base's contaminated water well. That's a huge victory, for Camp Lejeune. And now you're seeing Blue Water Navy, Brown Water Navy. You're seeing Agent Orange survivors of Guam getting the congressional support now. They're getting a lot of the congressmen to sign these HR bills that are going to help these servicemen that were exposed. I mean, there's no doubt they weren't exposed, but you know what the old policy for the VA system was to stall, deny, and hope they die. I think they're getting away from that. I think the public knows the old system, but now that this VA system is cleaning up their act, I see that with congressional support behind us and citizens and shows and books that you put out as well, is going to help get this out in the open and assist these family members that need this guidance, because from what I'm hearing, these federal torts, only the dependents or civilian workers can put a claim in. Can you tell me more about what they mean by tort, Bob?
A tort is a legal action that would be filed against a party for injuries. You can file a federal tort claim on a standard form 95, but good luck, because what will happen, will probably sit someplace for 6 months. That's a mandatory time, but before you can take an action, before you can go into a federal district court. Now, if you can get a lawyer to spend his or her money up front to for a suit against the federal government against for an environmental claim. I don't know anybody who has succeeded in that. No one that I know of, anyway. There are a number of claims that were filed for Camp Lejeune folks. I think they went nowhere, absolutely nowhere. So that's the if you're in fact here's the story. If you're a veteran, you cannot file a lawsuit against the government for injury while on active duty. All you can file is this VA disability claim. That's it. You cannot sue the government. That's the law. If you're a civilian, you can, as you mentioned, Dave, with the standard Form 95 tort claim. But winning it is almost impossible. And getting a law firm to pick up the cost of filing a lawsuit. Good luck with that one, Dave.
Yeah, right. And so let me ask some more questions about when you wrote the book, these books that you had. Can you tell us about a time when you think that things didn't go the way you wanted while you were writing your books, or when? Can you just think of a time?
Well, I can think of the most important thing that happened to me is my VA claim was denied. I remember that. Going in, I'm looking at it, I was totally dumbfounded. I had a VA medical opinion. I had a medical opinion from a doctor out of Oklahoma who really did a great job, and I submit the claim in, and I get this letter in the mail saying, "Oh, here you go. I'll see what's going on now." Denial. What the hell is going on here? What do I do next? So that was tough. I wound up getting a lawyer. Now, here's what veterans should know this. You're not really stuck with a veteran service officer, because if you go to the Veterans Board of Appeals with the VSO, guess what you're fighting? The government's coming in with a lawyer. The administrative judge involved in the hearing, he's a lawyer. So you got two lawyers, and you're going in with a guy who's not a lawyer. Good luck with that one. You could win, but you could also lose too. You can get an attorney to represent you at no cost up front. Here's what happens. The attorney is paid he's paid 20% of the lump sum that you're awarded. So it's 20 cents on the dollar, right? So if no award, no ticket, no surety. But if you win, there's no way. So no way I would have won anything without the attorney. Here's what happened. We got into. I was in Philadelphia at the time, and the folks in Philadelphia asked me to come in for a hearing. My attorney said, "Did you ask for this hearing?" I said, "No." They said, "Well, let's go talk to him." So we went in for a hearing. It was an hour hearing, and this is interesting. I walk into the room, and the gal in charge of it was a decision review officer. She said, "This is an informal hearing," and then proceeds to swear me in. I said, "Wait a minute, you're swearing me in? Now, if I lie, that's perjury, right?" I said, "Honey, that's not informal. That's pretty formal." So anyway,
raise your right hand, right? Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah. So we went that, but I would have not had a shot at that without having this guy who had experience in veterans claims, and who was an attorney who had practiced before the Veterans Board of Appeals. So that's, if anybody denies me, if I was denied in a future claim, I tell any veteran, consider going to an attorney. Why play around with the process? Go right ahead to the attorney. If you got a good claim, the attorney will tell you if you got a good claim or not. He's not going to waste his time and money on something that's going to go nowhere. So that's also a good shot too. There's also an organization called Veterans for Us. I don't know much about them, but I believe they also have access to people that could tell you who are good attorneys. If you don't know, you have to specialize in this law. It's not that anybody you can call down the street. You have to know the VA system and the laws. But that's what I would do. I'm in the process of filing 7 more disability claims for going in on Thursday. I didn't want to do it, and because it's a long, tedious process. But I thought, if I die of prostate cancer, which I never claimed, right? I claimed one bladder cancer, a bunch of other stuff. I said, well, what happens? My wife gets nothing. So I'll do it for her. I had some guys kind of talk me into it. I said, okay, I'll do it for my wife. I'll go through the process.
That's what you need, exactly, Bob. And that's what's not happening out there. A lot of these service members, they're not doing it for their wives because they get left with, you're the breadwinner. You got that disability coming in. Once you die, it's gone. And that's what we need. We need to give hope to these widow warriors out there So what advice could you give? Let's just say, it's sad, but, someone that's on there that's got only, 60, 90 days left, what kind of hope can you give that family?
Well, I know apply for it. Apply for the compensation, because a widow is entitled to compensation. But guess what? Even 100% VA veteran who dies, the VA is never going to notify the widow that they're entitled to anything. The widow has to apply for it. I'm sitting in a store one time applying for, waiting for some photos or something. A gal walks in and she saw my cover on, my Marine Corps hat on, and she said, "You're in the Marine Corps?" She started crying. Her husband had just died. He was a 100% disabled vet from Vietnam, okay? And I said, "Did they give you DIC, dependent indemnity compensation? Have you applied for it?" "No, what's that?" "Oh, my God." I couldn't believe it. I said, so here we go again. So I told her the whole process. Look, go see a veteran service officer, get the form, get the claim, apply for it. You're entitled to compensation. Every widow whose husband has, I don't know what the percentages are, but definitely a 100% veteran who dies, his widow is entitled to compensation, but you're going to have to apply for it. The VA is not going to tell you. Now, is that wrong? Is that morally wrong? In my own mind, yes. There's no question about it. Because the VA knows when you receive compensation, they know if you have a spouse, and they know if you die from a service-connected injury, that spouse is entitled to compensation. So why not tell the widow? Why not alert her with a letter or something, You got to tell the VA when the veteran dies, "My husband's dead," right?
Right. Yeah.
At that point, they can generate a letter back out again saying, "Well, by the way, your husband died, 100% disabled veteran, you're entitled to compensation, file the form." No reason not to do it. All you're trying to do is save money.
Right.
But you're hurting a lot of people.
It's so heartless. I can't believe they're not informing them. And once again, for the widow warriors out there in the audience, go ahead and go to U.S. Wives and Widow Warriors of Agent Orange. Now, you might not be Facebook people, but guess what? It's out there. You're going to have to join Facebook to get this type of information. When they say just a few clicks, you have to be on the internet. You have to be adept. Call up your grandson. Get them involved. Get your younger family involved to help you on the computer, because that's the only way you're going to get these claims through and get something accomplished. Like they said, it's only a few clicks away. Well, I hope it is. I hope that we can give that hope to the widow warriors, and we send all our condolences out to these brave veterans that have been out there at our installations doing their job that they were told to do, and not asking questions when they probably should have put on that protective gear, should have put on that protective mask, but nobody wants to put on a suit. Like, I'm one of them. I mean, I was the chemical specialist for my unit, so I was I was the Delta guy, and I couldn't get anybody to do training on the mop gear. They would not put it on. Being in Florida, the hottest state, I had to only do that type of training in December and January to get the unit to practice putting on their mop gear, their gear for any type of chemical cleaning. They could, at least gear up. But no soldier wants to put on that protective mask, and it shows in the last, 50 years of these exposures that's becoming evident out there, because these service members didn't want to protect themselves, or they weren't given the proper gear, which is pretty sad. All right, Bob, we're getting close to the end of the show. Do you want to end up with something, Bob? Anything you want to share with us before we close it out?
Well, I wrote a book called A Few Good Men, Too Many Chemicals, which is up on Amazon. That covers the exposures at El Toro, Marine Corps Station El Toro, and Camp Lejeune. It might be helpful to folks who are not stationed there, because there's a list of other information in there too that could be helpful. But that's up on Amazon. I would like to put it out for nothing, for free, but Amazon won't let you do that because they want to make a piece of the change, So, but that's available. But there's also two sites up on Facebook that folks might be interested in. One site is called Marine Corps Station El Toro Toxic Dumping Ground. Marine Corps Station El Toro Toxic Dumping Ground. The other site is called Toxic El Toro. Those are two Facebook accounts that have lots of information information on. So it's out there, Dave. I would say, many folks don't want to get involved in Facebook for obvious reasons, but it's there. It's there. I mean, take advantage of the information and ask for help.
Right. And then's that other one. What you said was bombs in your backyard.
Brother, this is we don't have time to talk about that. But bombs in the backyard, is a ProPublica, I believe, is the organization. There's a group of investigative reporters that did this thing. It's a great deal. You can type in your address, your current address, and it will show you what nodes or insulation may be near you, what kind of contaminants are involved. And it's not the military hasn't done a bad job here, and they spent something like $40-some-odd billion to date in cleanup, and there's another $28 million left to go to clean up the sites. It's interesting. Bombs in your backyard is an interesting article, and it's got this online database that you can log into. So
yeah, I did it, Bob. All you do is put your zip code in. And would you know, Orlando International Airport is considered a site that's continue being cleaned up, and it won't be finished till 2024. And they spent $41 million cleaning up McCoy Air Force Base, which is the Orlando International Airport. So yeah, go to Bombs in Your Backyard. You put in your zip code, and you'll see all these toxins that are within 30 miles from your home. You could be right on top of it, depending on what your zip code, where you live. Yeah, that's some incredible foresight with this, because I was like, wow, somebody really spent a lot of time putting all that information together, right? And that was free. I mean, I can't see how they make money off that. That is a noble thing. These investigative reporters did something great. So check it out, Bombs in Your Backyard. Put your zip code in there. Hey, Bob, I want to have you back. I want you to talk more about your book on treachery. So we'll have you back on the show in a few months from now. And I appreciate your expertise on this. And I hope you well in your 7 disability claims coming up with that prostate the size of a softball. I hope you can. I hope you take care of that. All right, Bob.
Okay, Dave.
Hey, take care, man. Thanks again. Thanks for the book. Thanks for the signing of the book. I appreciate that. And I'll be reading it here and there. And I'm gonna we'll definitely do a show on your book on treachery. It looks intriguing. It looks very exciting. I'm gonna read the back of it if you don't mind. Treachery is an investigative report of murder, conspiracy to commit murder, crime scene tampering, and narco trafficking by the U.S. government. All right, that's going to be a great show. All right, Bob. Robert O'Dowd, author of Few Good Men, Too Many Chemicals, and Treachery. Thanks, Bob. You have a great day. Out. All right, I'm getting 0 dark 30 for the show, and I'm just about ready to go into rack ops mode. But before I relax, never one last promo. So go to Sergeant Dave at klrnradio.com for suggestions for the show's content. Or a good piece of gear, a veteran's advocate, I'll get him on the show. So copy me, email me again at sergeantdave at klrnradio.com. And go to my Facebook page and like the page. It's Remember the Fallen, all one word. Copy once again, Remember the Fallen, all one word on Facebook. And you can also hit me up on the Twitter handle at Heroic Memorials. Or if you're not into the Twitter bird chirping thing, you can go to my website at www.neverforgottenmemorials.org and mark your calendar every Thursday night on your phone at 8 p.m. Eastern Time at klnradio.com. Select the show that's showing, tap whatever show is running, and that should be me every Thursday night. And you don't have to be there on Thursday night. You can always see the shows archived. You can catch it on Friday morning, over the weekend. At any time you have your phone in your hand, you can check out the shows, the past shows at klrnradio.com. Just tell the microphone Google, take me to klrnradio.com. select our shows, tap, remember the following logo, it's a star with Sergeant Dave. Scroll up until you see all the shows. I should have 8 hours of shows running now. So every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. All right, that's in order until all the troops come home. All right, fall out, pop, smoke out.
The front and just type it and do a new show, and I'll read the intro.
Dude, I only had 20 minutes to get this thing on. So let's see how it's going here.
Oh, you already did the show.
Yeah.
All you're doing.
Most writers and radio show hosts know that to connect with your fans, you need to do more than just write books or record the latest podcasts. There are many different elements that go into forming an online platform, but there are also many hidden traps. To make matters worse, solid advice on how to survive the muddy waters is scarce. In the book Hidden Traps, I talk about some of the important issues of working with an online platform, highlighting traps that could put your physical or internet security at risk or be harmful to your reputation. Are your social media posts just links with a few disjointed words making you look like someone who can't complete a sentence? Did your new website cost you more than you anticipated? Are you leaking your personal contact details across the web without even knowing it? Then you need Hidden Traps. Hidden Traps is now available in paperback and ebook from a variety of retailers, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo. Visit blackwolfpublications.com for more details.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now. 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Sometimes riders feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all set to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all set to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.